All right, guys. Our next guest, as you know by now, is an absolute fing legend. Getting it done against Jalin Turner this past weekend in a bloody war and pushing through a broken freaking arm and a broken freaking orbital in a show of heart determination. And let's be honest, balls the size of watermelons. Dan, it's just a scratch hooker. What an honor. Congratulations. Welcome back, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, I didn't even know about that. I didn't even know about this all over here until I went to because they booked me in with the surgeon, like an orthopedic surgeon for my arm,
Mm.
and then I went and saw him, and that I was like, that's definitely. I knew in the fight, I was like, that is 100% broken. But I didn't know. I didn't even know about my face, and then they booked me in with like a face surgeon, and I was like, why are they booking me in with a face surgeon? I was like, I didn't even know what it was, but then he scanned me and he's like, come over and have a look at this. And that's when I took a photo of it. I was like, oh, I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was gone. I was like, man.
You're like, that's me.
But that one's in, yeah, pretty much. I was like, well, that one's in place. So that one will just fix up naturally. That one doesn't need like a surgery or anything, which is good. Going under the knife twice in a week is not is not preferable.
Yeah. Well, also, it's your face, like you don't want them poking around, leaving crazy scars. Can you feel it? The one in the face? Like, is it different to say after any other fight? Because it sounds almost like it wasn't even on your radar.
Nah. Well, I've done it. I've had this side fixed before. I've had that my orbital and this side broken. But then he is as well. He was like showing me the scan. And I was like, no, I know I've broken up there. And he goes, no, but over here as well, you've also cracked your orbital over here before. And I was like, oh, I've never had that. He's like, well, you obviously just didn't notice and it's just healed naturally. So it would have been like a fight maybe before the UFC and that where they don't chuck you an ambulance and they don't scan you up. I just had a broken orbital and just didn't realize.
Yeah, the real, it's just a scratch. So what's the deal with the face? Like, so you don't need surgery on your face anymore, right?
No, it'll just heal naturally. Just then, don't get hit in the head for the next 6 weeks, and and it'll come back together naturally. I got my hospital band on. I'm keeping it on just as a souvenir. I'll see how long. I don't want them to cut the next one off. I want them to just keep adding to them.
Yeah, it's like a music festival band. Just keep collecting them and hang them up in your room. Hey, dude, I was gonna say, by the way, after this weekend, I also got to say, a lot of people have been calling you the 21 UFC fight and fight of the night, stealing, wheeling, dealing, son of a gun that beats the best worldwide and makes them cry. Because when you were in that octagon, that blonde hair and the blood coming out, a lot of people putting up those Ric Flair pics, man. Did you see that online? Got the fight of the night boy, Dan Hooker here on Submission Radio.
I saw the Ric Flair shout out. That was cool. Like that's what I was kind of doing. Had my fingers crossed with the blonde hair going into that fight. I was like, man, there's a bit of blood. You get it through. Look like Ric Flair, And I got what I asked for, so I can't. I can hardly sit on the other side of it. And now I start complaining. It was a bit of a bloody war because that's it's just what you prepare for when you go into a fight.
Yeah, man. I've got to ask, like, with the bleach blonde thing, how does that work? Like, you got the hat on, but when you get the blood through it, does it come out? Is your hair permanently, like, red now? Like you were telling Ariel, you were thinking of going red. Is that to match the rest of your head? Like, what does it look like? Like, did you get it off?
It's a bit of a mess now. But
yeah.
It's, it all washed out. Like, they took it to the hospital. And, yeah, oh, man, I was there. I want to say like 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours. But got back to the hotel, had a wash, and then went out with the boys to the after party. So it was a good night.
You and the rest of the four horsemen, Volko, Israel, Huge, you get in the back. Somebody say that the horsemen having a party tonight. I hope that's how it went down. At any point, like when you were fighting, were you, because you knew that it was broken, was there any point where I know you pushed through it, but were you like, this could get seriously damaged, there could be permanent damage here in the line? Like, what was actually going through your mind?
Like you just You just account for it. But I knew something was up with it early on, like it wasn't responding the way I wanted to, and that's definitely like why I got kicked in the head, because it starts to like not respond. Like naturally, your arm would just like raise up and protect your face, but I was expecting it to do this, and it just stayed where it was. You know what I mean? So it just wasn't responding the way I wanted it to. I kept throwing it. Obviously, after the head kick, I was like, all right then. And that just woke me up. I started to put the heat on him. But yeah, it wasn't till I went to finish in the third, and I caught him with I was like, oh, well, we'll go all in on it. And then I tried to hit him with a right hand, and I felt it just completely go out of place. And then it just like really went into like a wet noodle after that. But you just account for it. Like instead of trying to finish him now in the third round, I was just like, well, I'll just stay on top of him. I'll chip away with him. Quite confident I got the second round. I'm quite confident that I hurt him in this round, and I'm controlling him from the top. Like control him from a dominant position at the top. Like it's obviously not the way they want to finish, but my arm's broken. You got to take what you got to take.
I'm guessing, yeah, man, that head kick was crazy. So when he went for that head kick, right, in your head, you're like, all right, my arm is coming up to block this. But then like nothing kind of happened. Is that what you're saying? Like, you're like, wait a minute, my arm's not here. But obviously training everything, your arm would be there to kind of help shield that kick away. But in that moment, you were like, where's my arm? It's not here right now.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
And he's kicking me in the head, right? Like what's going through your mind in that moment? You're like, yeah, my arm's not there.
Like I think, I just stay calm, man. Like I just don't. There's not much that can rattle me out there. That's like a real superpower when it comes down to it. Like most of these guys just start to panic when stuff like that happens, but just staying calm under the situation.
Funny, because I know when you did Pub Talk with Oscar, you were talking about like experience and just like how long it took you to kind of find a groove and certain things. How much of a factor do you think that was in this fight? And ultimately, what do you think sort of changed the momentum for you? Because he did well in that first round, and then in the second round, it's like you put the pressure on him, and he almost seemed overwhelmed, and then you just really sort of took over from there.
Yeah, it comes down to experience. Like I've had, just a lot more fights than him in the UFC. That's like twice as many fights in the UFC under those lights, under that pressure. I've had the bad results, I've had the good results, and that experience paid dividends in that fight. Like had I not had that experience in the past, I wouldn't have come out with that result. So it's like experience. I can't regret any of those difficult experiences because it led me to the fight I am now. I can stay calm under situations like that, or mentally push through when physically you're not all there.
It's actually a real rarity, right? Because somebody with the experience that you have, but also being in their prime like yourself, is very rare in the sport, being able to have both experiences, have the physical skills, but also the mental abilities from all those situations. I also wonder, Dan, like, so you guys were in the back hanging out. You had that great selfie. You guys are hanging in the back. What did you guys speak about? And did Jalin say what went through his mind when he saw you just take that head kick? And then, like, because I know a lot of guys, the guys in training, they hit you with their best shot or they hit you with a good shot. They see you moving forward, nothing happens. That can mess with someone's head. Be like, oh no, I got to hit with this guy to stop this guy. He's unstoppable. You mentioned anything like that?
We had a little laugh. Like we each took a photo of each other and we shook hands. And he said, "All right, I'm done now. I want to come out." Like he said before the fight, he said he wants to actually come out and train with our team. And I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, for sure. Like, no worries, mate. But he was like, man, I wasn't expecting you to be that tough. And I was like, oh, yeah.
You're like, you're not coming to our team now, buddy. You're cut.
Yeah, I was like, well, I am, Like, but, we just had like a bit of a laugh. But, yeah, still nothing but respect. I like Jalin. There's no animosity before the fight, and there's definitely none after a scrap like that.
Oh, well, he seems like a good dude, and obviously after going through something like that, the respect would just be more. I wonder, man, like what I know before the fight, you were saying how like you already know what's going to happen. You told us this the other week. What did you prove to yourself in there after something like that? What did you prove to yourself?
Again, like nothing. I'm proving to myself. This is all stuff. This is all stuff that I knew. I knew the person that, like, obviously, I didn't expect to break my arm and get into that much of a war. You know what I mean? But you have to. That is to be accounted for. To still break your arm and get the job done. It's like it's just proving it to everyone else, or showing everyone else like what you truly believe. Like after the last fight, like I was happy to answer the question, like, oh, does this guy still belong in the rankings? And you take on this guy who's on a finish streak, beating crazy guys. Everyone wants to see the next big thing. You make it look like easy work, and then coming into this fight, you know, the question was, oh, his chin's gone and he's washed up. You know what I mean? Well, there's not many people asking that question anymore. I can hardly. There's not many people out there saying, no, his chin's gone. It's like, mate, you can watch the fight. The chin is 30, and someone that breaks their arm and pushes through and still wins a fight is not on the washed up side of things. So it's not necessarily proving anything to myself with the result like that or performance like that. It's just answering the questions to everyone else.
I watched majority of the pub talk and stuff, and I was just like thinking about it the other day. Like, isn't it just crazy how such a short window in time can make such a huge difference? Like, let's say, for example, Jalin broke your arm, he got stopped somehow. The narrative will be so different. People would be talking about like, washed up and this and that, and oh my God, Jalin beat him so bad he went home with one arm and this and that. But you gutted it out, you turned it around, you pulled out the win. And the discussion is so different. I was just thinking about like 15 minutes in the span of a lifetime is nothing. It's a speck of dust. And yet it makes such a big difference. And I wonder, to your point about your chin, how much of a difference do you think the breaks made, taking those breaks after having like all those wars in your career?
Yeah, like that again. That's experience. That's not being stupid and coming off a war like that and then just rushing back into another fight. It's just like a lesson I learned the hard way, that you just take like a good amount of time, let your body recover properly back to 100%, and there's no questions that need to be asked about it. That's it. Like I was just coming off the back of the Felder fight, coming off the back of the Poirier fight, and then rushing into the Chandler fight. Like that was just, I just didn't have a good amount of rest and a good amount of time away from the cage and a good amount of time away from training. So now I have that experience. I can just take the time to recover, come back at 100%, and then there's going to be no questions about it.
And congratulations is in order, sir, because we see the rankings. They have been updated. You're now ranked number 10 in the world once again. And I got to ask, man, like, obviously, for all of us out there, when we opened those rankings and we saw that was a great moment because we all knew, can't wait for Dan to get this win, get back in the mix, see what happens next. But for yourself, seeing that happen when you open the website and seeing yourself back in that top 10, what does it mean this time around compared to all the other times?
No, it's cool. I'm not.
You didn't open the website, did you, Dan? Oscar probably told you.
You got moved up. You're in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, my opinion of myself is not attached to what other people say about me, or my opinion of myself is not attached to like a number on a website. Like I have my how I think about myself is internally is like in concrete. You know what I mean? I know the kind of person that I am, and then like results change and people's opinions of you change. It's like what they say in The Gladiator: the mob is fickle. They change. Yeah. They change very quickly. So it's like your opinion of yourself cannot ebb and flow with the mob. It's like that's it's a very sad way to live life.
It's a very, very, very good point. If you go, especially in this sport of all sports, where people's opinions change so quickly and week to week. If you do it for that kind of adoration, it's going to be a tough road. I saw Chael Sonnen was singing your praises though, man. He was tweeting about how you and Dustin.
Chael's my guy.
Chael P, right? Guy. Yeah. He was talking about how you and Dustin, the best lightweight fight of all time, and he said you can't have a BMF discussion without mentioning you. I wonder, like, how does it feel, A, for your boy to say that, but also just in general to have like that kind of reputation and to be seen that way in the sport?
Back in the mix. That's what I was saying before the fight. That's where this fight gets me. This fight gets me back in the mix.
It's not even back in the mix. It's kind of like there's a lot of guys that are in the mix, but people, may not throw that BMF title. I'm not even talking about the title. I just mean like seen as a guy who will just kind of do anything, anywhere, anytime, like that kind of mentality. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of what Chael was sort of alluding to more. Well, your body of work.
Yeah. It's just facts. Like I can't not deliver. I can't not. I wish I could sometimes, but I like name one boring Dan Hooker fight. It's just doesn't happen. Like either you or me, but it ain't gonna be boring. And that's just the way it is. So it's like I deliver every single time, and the fans appreciate that. So the fans wanna see you against guys that deliver every single time. And those guys are like Poirier, Gagey, like again, like none of those guys have. Those guys never have boring fights either. It's like the fans want to see exciting guys rewarded with other exciting guys. Like that's why they have this BMF title. That's why it's drawing like pay-per-view. That's why there's 2 championship belts in our division with pay-per-view points. Is because people want to see exciting fights, and the lightweight division's known for the most exciting fights, most action-packed fights in the sport.
Obviously not fighting on the September card, but
sorry, before you go to it, would you want to fight for that belt? Like I always wonder, some guys are like, nah, only the undisputed. But I feel like, given your body of work, like would you be happy to fight for a belt like that? Would it mean a lot for you?
Yeah, like man, if it came up in the discussion, there's no way I would turn down pay-per-view point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you're fighting for that kind of belt, maybe we should create your own kind of belt, like the Super Saiyan Ric Flair Dan Hooker belt or something like that. Put that bad boy up. Get it up there.
There's going to be a few belts floating around the division.
Yeah. Just walk in with a bunch of belts. If they did a BMF belt, just create 3 or 4 of your own ones and just walk in there and be like, we're unifying this sumbitch this weekend here. And it's going to happen in New Zealand. By the way, man, like, I know like you won't be fighting here in September, but are you looking forward to kind of coming down to Oz, having a couple of beers? Hopefully you'll be feeling a little bit better and sort of being a part of the action, getting a chance to sort of see a lot of your fans now that this fight is in the books, and, connecting with a bunch of the peeps down here that have been supporting you for, your whole career.
Yeah. So, there's 5 city kickboxing fighters on the card, I believe. And so I'll be in the gym, like doing what I can, obviously coming off a surgery or that, but helping out where I can, jumping in wherever I can just to help the team. But yeah, on that night, hopefully I'll just be out the back with the boys, like helping warm them up and helping out where I can. And that's a big night for our gym. That's a massive night for our gym. That's gets me really excited to get back in the gym and be around the energy of that training camp.
Sorry, I just laughed because when you had the broken arm in the last training camp, you were like sparring, and then you had like broken written on one of your arms, right? And then you're still inspiring doing it. So now I've got this vision of you with like some kind of headpiece on, with like broken on one side of your face where the orbital is. You got the broken arm, but you're still inspiring. Am I right? Like, are we still going to see Dan Hooker in the gym doing his thing with a couple of signs on him?
Nah. Lesson learned. I've learned my lesson. Not getting hit in the head in 6 weeks. I'll I'll listen to that. How about that, boys?
Okay.
I'll be a good boy.
Yeah, the doctors are watching this like, all right, checks out.
Yeah.
Appease the
We
doctors.
can let him back home. We can let him back home now.
How long will you be out for? Like after the surgeries, Dan?
Wouldn't have a clue.
Oh.
Wouldn't have a clue. I didn't
You
ask.
seem phased.
They
ask.
like they kind of you know, err on the side of caution. Err on the side of caution. They give you a number for a normal man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not recover a lot faster than the standard time frame.
Yeah, of course. The Wolverine of the lightweight division. Do you think I guess what I'm asking is like how soon before we can see you back in there? I know you're probably not like rushing though, because this is obviously the newer, smarter. I have two managers now, Dan Hooker.
Yeah, like from what I heard, they were gonna go like Perth to the Perth card, Sydney, which you know came to fruition. There's the big Sydney card coming up, and then I heard 2024 they're coming back to New Zealand, back to Auckland. So if I could drag that back to New Zealand, back to Auckland, and get like a big name fight, that would be cool. That would be cool. Next, yeah, like something big. It's I think I've only got that next one. That's the last fight of my contract. So yeah, it's time to sit down with the boys at the UFC and get something big next and get another contract underway.
What are you looking for from the UFC from this next contract? Obviously, like good big name for Auckland, tick. That's on the checklist. Anything else that you're looking for to sign up for another one?
Whatever. Like,
bit of the sheesh.
That's why I got managers now, Baba. Because you give me an exciting fight, and that's all I want in this world. So that's why we got the managers. They can wheel a deal, and I'm not a T's and C's guy.
Yeah.
If you haven't realized, I think my first UFC contract, I didn't even read the bloody thing. I just signed it and sent it back.
That's awesome.
Just on that, what would it mean for you to go back to Auckland and potentially main event another card like that?
Yeah, it would need a big fight because the stress of that is incredible.
Oh yeah,
and especially coming off like the performances like that. There's three fights in Auckland, fought on every single card, and that's like that were all big wins. You know, first round TKO, then the Pearson knockout, and then the absolute war with Paul Felder. So that's three like incredible performances. So I feel like the expectations for coming back to Auckland are enormous. So it's like you need a dance partner that warranted that excitement. I feel like you need a dance partner where it's either one of those guys that's like super exciting that the fans are just like, man, this is gonna deliver 100%, or you need you need an opponent that's gonna like tickle the fans' balls, you know what I mean? Be like, ooh, I don't know if he could beat that guy. Like that guy's, you know what I mean? Like it needs to be a big, exciting fight. If we're gonna pack out, I think we easily pack out the arena.
Yeah.
In New Zealand, I think that's a sellout. That's hands down a sellout.
Fuck yeah. Pickled fans' balls all day. They like it. We like our
they love
balls.
it.
Yeah, love it.
They love it.
Love our balls tickled. Speaking of tickling balls, our favorite ball tickling friends at Manscaped have got the hookups for you. You know they're good at taking care of your boys downstairs, but now they've got the beard products, the Beard Hedger, the greatest beard trimming tool ever. Dude, I used to use like all these fancy German brands, a million attachments, this and that. I like the sides a certain length, and I like the bottom a little bit longer. That's what works for my face. My favorite thing about the Manscaped Beard Hedger is they've got this rotary wheel with up to 20 different precision settings. 20 settings. Who even needs that many? But if you're the kind of person that wants that perfectly trimmed, manicured beard, you can do that with Manscaped's Beard Hedger. Best of all, you've got the 41mm titanium-coated T-blade for a comfortable trim and blade durability, the rotary zoom wheel, advanced lift comb that lifts flat-lying hairs for smooth single-stroke trimming, and a high-performance battery with 1 hour charging and 60 minutes runtime per charge. And you got little indicators to let you know where your battery's at. And also, it's waterproof, just like all Manscaped products. So you can just take that bad boy in the shower with you. I used to shave first, shave my head, then shower, get rid of all the excess hair. Don't worry about it anymore. Do it all at the same time. Save time and make yourself look like the best version of yourself. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, man. Trimming is a serious deal. You stuff it up, you got to shave everything off, and Manscaped has you covered with their beard trimmer. Guys, get 20% off and free shipping with the code word submission now. Trust us, this thing is a game changer, and try it for yourself.
That's right. The kit comes with a beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard oil, beard balm, free gives beard brush, beard combo, beard scissors. 20% off with the code submission and free shipping, like Dennis mentioned. Also, if you're the kind of person that week to week is always looking for the best venue to watch the fights, I know we had UFC 290 last week. This week we've got Holm versus Bueno, and you're probably thinking, all right, this feels like a pub kind of event to watch it at. You watch the fights, maybe have a Parma, have a meal or something. Our good friends at Fanzo have you covered. They help you find all the venues in your area. I've got the app open. There it is, UFC Fight Night Holm, Bueno right there. So you go into the app, and there you go. There's all the venues in my area. Let's do the Royal Oak Hotel, see what that's all about. 3.9 rating. You've got the ratings. You can click any button to check out their website, call them, chuck it straight in your map. There's 10 screens. There's commentary. You know, sometimes you go to a pub and you can't even hear the commentary. That's frustrating. They serve food. They do Wi-Fi. They got a beard guard, and they got a projector, and they've got an outdoor screen. I haven't seen the outdoor screen on any others thus far. So that's good. That's good to know. And best of all, our good friends at Fanzo, it's not just the venues that they're showing you. They've got special deals. For example, for this UFC Fight Night Holm vs Bueno, the Birmingham Hotel in Fitzroy is providing a great deal during the event, offering $16 jugs of Balter during the fights, redeemable through the Fanzo app, limit to 2 per customer, you wild animals. And if you don't know if pubs have offers, you just scroll there while browsing. You'll see that you'll be able to see an offer button on the venue. You click it, and then you can redeem it. Not only do you find the perfect venue, but they recently launched the Asahi Check-In Challenge in the lead up to the highly anticipated Rugby World Cup in France. So you can basically, ship off to France if you like. You simply checking in at participating venues, you unlock some awesome prizes to be claimed when you visit. Simply download the Fanzo app, head to the Asahi Rugby World Cup 2023 homepage, check in at the participating venue, and then you're in the draw, man. You're off to the chance. You've got the chance to win one of 2 trips to the Rugby World Cup in France in 2023, and that's not all. You'll instantly win a 300ml Asahi Super Dry while stocks last. Use the link in the bio and start checking in and finding those venues. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, man. That's an unbelievable deal. And just quickly on that, on the screens, I was in Sunshine on Sunday looking for a place to watch the fights, and I almost went to a place with 1 screen. And thanks to Fanzo, I was able to save myself and not waste a drive to basically watch nothing. So make sure to go to the Fanzo website, like Casper said in the description below, and find the best pub and bar showing the fights near you. You won't regret it.
Right. All right. We were talking about big fights and big fight feels before, and tickling balls as well. There were no balls tickled at UFC 290, that's for sure. But dude, Dan, I gotta get your thoughts, man. Dricus taking on Israel Adesanya in Sydney, man. That's definitely got a big fight feel to it. What do you think about that, man? The fight that he brought to fruition, that he manifested. Huge fight feel. What do you think about that one?
Yeah. He's like, I don't like everyone's like, I don't know if Israel everything Israel's ever done or said at first, I've been like, that doesn't really make sense. It always makes sense. Like you got to think that everything he said was not an accident. Like everything he said, every word that came out of his mouth was not like an emotional reaction, even though there was like a lot of emotion attached to it. Everything he ever does makes sense when the storyline completely plays out.
Yeah.
It's even like the dog collar thing when he was sitting there at a press conference. Everyone's like, oh yeah, dog collar. But then he like knocks him out, and you're like, oh, he unleashed the dog.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It all makes sense in the long run. Like once he, like you'll see it in the fight when he starts like beating him and he starts saying it, and then after he'll sit down at the press conference or in the ring and explain himself and explain where all that emotion is coming from. The story, like this is just the start of the storyline. I think people forget to understand. We have to understand it's all the story in his head is already played out. Like he visualized Dricus winning the fight. He's already visualized how Sydney will play out. He's already visualized what he's going to say in the press conference after. And I think that's something that people forget, that it's already all played out in his head.
I was thinking about it the other day. Like I remember ages ago when we sat down in Melbourne, and he was talking about like the sport kind of needs a little bit more flair, a little bit more WWE, a little bit more entertainment. And he always makes that effort to make things interesting and create that storyline. And he's very forward thinking in that sense. And I think what sometimes is underappreciated is like how authentic he is when he goes out there. Like for me, it annoyed me how everybody was sooking and crying about that in-cage interaction. I was just like, shut the fuck up. Like everybody on Twitter and all this crap, just shut the fuck up. And I feel like people don't appreciate that. Like, look, you can go like what you were saying, I think, to Oscar, where like you can go out there and you can say all the safe things and be perfect, but then you're just a boring and you have no personality. And I think sometimes Israel is like he just goes out there and he knows like, look, this may be taken this way or that way, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to be me and people can take it how they like. And I think sometimes that's not appreciated. Do you know what I mean?
He's the best storyteller in the sport. Like he like his. You go back and like look at his story, like the Predator, like his run, and he's the best storyteller. Like the whole time when he's on that microphone, like everything is so planned, everything is so meticulous. It's it's underappreciated how great of a storyteller that man is.
Yeah. I love it. It's like prize fighting, cage fighting. How dare these guys get in the ring together and build up an exciting fight? It's like, are we watching like a church service here? You can't do anything in that octagon anymore without Twitter blowing up. Hey,
mean words.
Yeah.
Mean words.
Oh no, they said mean words to each other. Anyway, by the way, Dricus, man, unbelievable win for him over Rob. We know like Rob is one of the best to do it in the middleweight division. We all agree like he's had an incredible run. So what he was able to do was incredible. Like, were you shocked when you saw what he did against Rob? Did you think he was able to beat him the way that he beat him? I mean, a lot of us thought, hey, if Dricus wins here, maybe it will be like, he'll edge out a decision, maybe blah, blah, blah. He was able to stop, one of the best middleweights to ever do it outside of Israel and Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible performance from Dricus. Like it's just one of those things. Like it wasn't Rob's night. It's not that Rob doesn't have a lot of gas left in the tank. I think he just didn't fire on the night. It just wasn't his night. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. He's still an incredibly dangerous fighter in the division, and I still see him beating out everyone else, or eventually down the road getting another shot at Dricus. So it's just one of those things.
Anything when you're looking at Dricus, I know like for a long time people have just kind of written Dricus off. And like I'll be honest, I thought Rob was going to get the job done, not because of any bias. I just thought Rob was that good. And obviously he proved me and a lot of people wrong. Do you see anything in Dricus's game that could potentially give Israel any challenges or pose any threats?
I think he's so dangerous because he takes a lot of risks, and I feel like in the fight with Rob started fighting Dricus's fight where Rob started taking a lot of risk as well. Like he noticed that Dricus was coming forward and taking a lot of risk, and then Rob started standing his ground and then also taking a little bit. Rob just made that a 50-50 fight when technically he didn't have to. He should have stayed on his bike and moved a little more and broken Dricus down over a longer period of time. And if we look at like Israel, he's incredible at limiting risk. So I feel like Dricus just he's not going to stand in front of Dricus and just have a 50-50 fight and let Dricus in the fight. I feel like the amount of risks that Dricus take will, like, Israel will be able to capitalize on.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. And the thing I like about Dricus is he brings a lot of self-belief into that octagon with him, whereas we know a lot of guys that fight Israel, it's like when they step in the octagon with them, it's like boom, it's that Anderson Silva effect, it's that John Jones effect, it's that Stipe effect, where you step in with a great fighter, and Mike Tyson effect, the Dan Hooker effect, when you're like, okay, this isn't as simple as what I thought when you're in the octagon with them. And maybe Dricus has that mentality that can carry through. We'll see. But I got to ask, man, before we get back to you and wrap up, Alex Volkanovski, man, this guy has had one of the most unbelievable runs in MMA history. And I mean, your career is incredible. His career is incredible as well. And what he was able to achieve on UFC 290 by beating Yair the way that he did, it just solidified him even more, as one of the greatest to ever do it. I just want to know, man, like, what was it like for you to share this card with him? I know, like, you enjoy being on cards with Volk. You like being on the same cards as your teammates. And what do you make of this legacy that he keeps building on and adding to? Because I remember when Volk first became champion, people weren't even giving him credit then. A lot of people were like, who's this Alex Volkanovski guy? Oh, Max Holloway is going to beat him. And now, I mean, he has over time just chipped away at it and shown people that he is one of the most incredible guys to ever do it. And we all know his personal story and what he had to overcome to even be there. But what did it mean for you to be on that card with him and to see what he's been able to achieve? And another addition to that legacy that he holds right now in the UFC.
Oh, massive. Like, it's awesome. Having his just the way he approaches everything, and like his attitude coming into everything, and just his mentality is second to none. I think he's just one of the most, like, that's him. You do an interview with him, I think he's just nothing's fake. Nothing he says is outside of his personality. He's just one of the most genuine people in the sport. Like, what you see is what you get. He actually is that nice. He actually is that great of a bloke. So yeah, just to share it, when you're fight week and you're this and that, and you look over at Volk and he's still got that same positive attitude, and he's still nice to everyone and still saying sorry for bumping into people and stuff like that when he's cutting weight and stuff. And it's just very refreshing when you're in a fight week with a guy like that.
All right, dude. Well, we don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you've got the Music Festival Hospital band on your wrist that you want to keep. And, dude, congratulations on an incredible night. Honestly, like, it was another incredible performance and another addition to your legacy, which I know all of us appreciate. As we wrap up, I know you're going to have a little bit of time on your hands. You can't get into the gym for at least a couple of weeks. I don't know how long you'll really take off. And you want to get back to the country. I know there's a doctor standing there watching this interview being like, Dan, you better say the right things. But as we wrap up, what are you looking forward to and focusing on? I know you'll be spending time with your family, but anything fans can sort of tune in to connect with over this sort of next period while you heal up and get ready to get back in there? Anything you want them to know about or check out?
Well, I gotta wake up and have surgery tomorrow, so I'll just keep everyone updated on. I'll just try my best to keep everyone. I'll try to not go MIA. I'll try to let everyone know that I'm still alive and healthy and well. And
stream the surgery just so we can know straight away, Dan.
Yeah,
I'll ask if they can do that. Do you reckon they'll do that?
It's just an arm. It's not like
well, they said they're going to knock me out, so I can't hold the camera. But I'll ask them.
Did you show them the video of Jalin trying to kick you in the head, and did you say it's impossible?
No, well,
you can't knock me out. I'm down hooking, damn it.
The gas isn't working on him.
We're gonna need more gas. We're gonna need more gas.
I say use double. Use double. But no, it was cool. The surgeon. The orthopedic surgeon that showed me my face, he obviously watched the fight, so because he walked in and he was like, great fight, what a fight. So it's cool. All the doctors here in Vegas are all like fight fans, or they deal with the UFC fighters, so it's quite cool to see like their interactions with you. It's really you're not used to like doctors being that pro cage fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, of
Wait,
course.
so are you stuck over there for a bit, or can you fly home soon after the surgery?
No, I get this. I'll knock this out. I'll knock the surgery out tomorrow, and then I believe my flight back to New Zealand is on Saturday. So I'll touch back down in New Zealand. I think Monday, New Zealand and Australian time. So yeah, I don't have to be away too long.
All right. Vegas has him for another few days. Vegas has him now.
There could be some new tattoos by the time he lands in New Zealand. Who knows what's going to happen?
Have an awesome, have a good surgery tomorrow, Dan. Enjoy the little nap. I enjoy when they knock you out and just feel like it's 1 second. Very refreshing. Follow them out on Instagram at Dan the Hangman and at on Twitter at Dan the Hangman. Dude, nothing but love, Dan. Massive, massive congratulations. Best of luck tomorrow, and we'll definitely chat soon. And hopefully you get the big, juicy fight, a big fat contract in New Zealand, man.
Cheers, boys. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Bye.